All right, thank you so much for joining. Today is July 10th, 2024, and this meeting is for our LJ Realty team. And let's get started with our interest rates. Okay, the interest rates, according to Freddie Mac, they were hovering around 6.95. We have been seeing that month over month, and very similar to Mortgage News Daily, for 30-year fixed, they are still around 7.01. Okay, we're going to talk about a little bit later about marrying the house and dating the rate. So that expression, I want you guys to know this, and pros and cons when you every time you mention that phrase. So just know the fact that the interest rates are definitely around 7%. For FHA, they're around 6.49. So we're going to be talking a lot about FHA loans today too. So one of the benefits of getting an FHA loan versus a conventional, if you only qualify for FHA, is the lower interest rate. It does have some cons with upfront cost and your mortgage insurance, but just looking at the rates, who wouldn't want to go with 6.49 compared to 7.01? Okay. So inflation, one of the reasons that the interest rates are not dropping is because of these two data points. One of them is your inflation data, which is around 3.3. The government has a target of 2%. They want this rate to come down from 3.3 to 2%. And the unemployment rate, they don't want this unemployment rate to go higher than 5. Okay, if it goes over 5, they will go ahead and start decreasing the rates as well. Okay, for inflation, they want that data to go to 2%, and unemployment, they want it to stay below 5%. Okay, so if we understand these two things, then we can know it's like why Fed is not decreasing or dropping the interest rates is because of these two datas. This is what they're controlling. There's many other factors, but these two are one of the major ones. Okay, so again, your interest rates are 7.01 for conventional, 6.49 averaging for your FHA, and the data points: inflation 3.3 currently, and unemployment 4.1. Okay, as real estate agents, we should have a glimpse of this market data, so when we're having a conversation with our clients, they know what you're talking about. Okay, the main question they do have is like, hey, what is the interest rate? If we say 6% or if we say 8%, we're not telling them the right information. It's around 7% right now. Okay, so for last 14 years, the interest rates have been going up and down, but there's usually a reason behind it. So we need to understand when we're having a conversation with our clients, why do interest rates do drop to the extremes that we have seen, right? So going back in 2010, so we all know there was a crisis in 2008, right? After 2008, not a lot of people were buying houses because a lot of people were scared. So the Fed wanted more activity, would want people to buy. So they encouraged them by dropping the interest rates. So the average in around May 2nd, 2013 was around 3.35. Okay, from 2013 until 2021, the interest rates were increasing. And guess what happened in 2020 and 2021? It was the COVID, right? First, we had 2008, we had a crisis with all the subprime mortgages. You know, a lot of people went through foreclosures. Now people were buying or selling. The government encouraged them to do so. That was in 2010 and above. And then in 2021 and 2020 and 2021, we were hit with COVID. So you can see that 3.35 averaging in 2023, 2013, and 2.65 in 2021. Okay, so what is the motto here, right? What is the pattern? You see the pattern of rising and falling interest rates because there's something happening in the world. Okay, if there's no issue in the world, all the economy is doing well and everything, there's no reason for the government to drop the interest rate for any reason. Okay, but if there's a pandemic that we got hit with in 2020 with COVID, then yes, the government will take action. Okay, if everything is running smoothly the way they want it, they're not going to drop the interest rates, and we have seen that month over month. Okay, so what are the chances of Fed actually cutting rates in the near future? So according to Fed Watch here, they're saying around 70% chance that the first cut will happen in September. Okay, why is going to be in September? Because there's going to be less activity in September. That's why we always encourage all our real estate agents to be very active around this time, because from now in July, August, these are your next 2 months where you should be very productive and following all your clients. What happens in September is the schools. Okay, the school starts in September, and then you have all the activity that starts to decrease, and hopefully by then it will encourage some of those people that were just sitting on the sidelines, and the feds might do the first cut in September. Okay, so the next meeting that we're going to see that's going to happen is for your Fed is going to be in July 30th and 31st. So we will follow that in the future meetings. Okay, so if someone asks you, hey, what are the chances? Hey, there's about 60 to 70% chance that they will do a cut in September. Okay, all right, guys. There's a fly in here. I don't know what the hell is going on. Give me 1 second. All right, so this is a real example for one of our clients who had a monthly debt of $1,100, and they bought a condo, but we just want to show you the scenario if they had no monthly debt versus $1,100 monthly debt. Their income was around $82,000. Their down payment was $106,000. Monthly debt around $1,100. The interest rate they received was 7.25. The property taxes around $4,300, and the property insurance around $660. Why is the property insurance low? Because they bought a co-op. Okay, they bought a co-op for around $360,000, and their DTI was 47. We did tell them that, hey, if they got rid of their monthly debt, right, they took care of it, they would qualify for maybe a single family around $500,000. Okay, but they chose to go with condos. So if you are a real estate agent, I would not say no to those clients who want to buy a condo at this stage, right? We know it's a longer process for a co-op or a condo, but guess what? When this client would want to go through all this hassle with you, and you're really being that helping hand, when the time comes, maybe in near future, in few years, they maybe want to sell this condo or rent that out and buy another property, they might go with you. Okay, so I highly encourage that you do not say no to any of the clients that who's looking to buy a condo or a co-op. Okay. Okay, guys. Next, we're gonna show you some data from Nassau stats versus your Queens. So everybody asks this question: hey, is it a good time to buy? Right? As a real estate agent, we should be able to answer that. Right? The answer should be as long as you can afford it, right? You're willing, you can, you have the ability to purchase it, you should purchase it. Otherwise, you're just simply paying the rent, and that's ultimately paying your landlord's mortgage. So why not pay your own mortgage? And look at the stats here. Going back 5 years, 10 years, up to 63 years, that the value of the property has always appreciated in Nassau County. Okay, as high as 20%. Okay, so you can see that over the years, if someone were to buy a house today at 735, right, at $735,000, the potential of that property appreciating can go up to over $880,000. Okay, so looking at how many people you think are renting in Nassau, not a lot. Around 13% people are renting. 83% of the people are homeowners. Okay, so we do know that single family properties in Nassau are homeowners living there. Versus your Queens here, very similar to Nassau here, where you see the rate, the appreciation is around 18% over the next 5 years for a property. So if the property is bought at $815,000 today, next 5 years it may value above $960,000. Okay, and how about the renters here? Do we think it's more or less? It's going to be a lot more compared to your Nassau County. So 37%, which is over 1 million people, are renting. Okay, so on the renting side, guys, we have some agents who are really focused on CityFab programs, vouchers, and really being that helping hand for those clients that's renting today, and hopefully there will be a homeowner in the near future. You can guide them on that well on that level as well. But from the renting side, again, be on the renting side if you are not selling regular properties yet, right? If you haven't sold any property, you should be really focused on renting. So this way you have some income coming in from your license. Okay. If you need any assistance for the renting side, the vouchers, you have to reach out to me for a one-on-one meeting so we can go through this together. Okay. But just know that the overall the value have been going up over the years. So we want to make sure that your client understand that. When you ask 100 people right now, is it a good time to buy a house? A lot of them still says no because of high interest rate, low inventory. So right now, the interest rates we cannot do much about, but there are some still home buyers who are being a little bit more optimistic about the housing market. Okay, and that's what these articles are about. Some of these, the inventory, we are seeing that it is growing nationwide. I have seen inventory increase in some of the areas that I'm following, but as a real estate agent, if you're specializing in Queens, right, maybe South Ocean Park, Richmond Hill, pay attention to that. See how much new inventory is actually coming on the market. That's gonna that where you're gonna help out your clients with. Okay. In some areas is a lot more than others, but you have to be the one deciding, hey, I'm serving this area, what does the inventory looks like? So according to this article here, it certainly looks like there are too many houses for sale, right? And here's why that's not quite right, because it depends on the area. So inventory in both new and existing homes finally is rising. And again, every listing agent, every time they're going to a presentation to meet with the homeowner, hey, this is the best time to sell right now. Why is that? Because people don't want to move when the school starts. So right now it is your best time to sell to get your maximum amount of clients looking at the property and maximum amount of offers, right? But still, supply of new built appears to be low. We know that not a lot of new houses are being built. If they are, they're asking for an arm and a leg. How many times you have seen a brand new property and you really feel like, hey, the property's value at this much, and the listing price is maybe 100, $200,000 over what you think, right? Those developers, those listing agents will realize that, hey, it's overvalued. But whatever you see, if it's a new built house, do the comps, do the research, and put in your offer. Okay. And if the home prices cools down, if it coming down and everything, is perfectly fine. We have no problem with that, because as a buyer's agent, you want your clients to save some money, and we're going to show you in the near future how we're going to do that. Okay. So if you have a brand new client, have no idea, obviously some of you guys are experts and going through the full presentation with your client, but just know their journey, right? First, they're setting out their budget just to see, hey, how much do I actually qualify for, right? Some of these guys are using their online calculators on their own. Some of them are going to a loan officer, but they're just seeing their budget, right? And then they're saying, hey, what do I really need in a house, and what do I really want in a house? So every real estate agent goes through this when they're in their presentation. Hey, what do you really need? Hey, I really need X amount of bedrooms. I really need X amount of bathrooms. But I really would want a pool. I would want a finished basement. I would want a nice, a basement where I can have my man cave, right? All those things are wants. But needs are, hey, I really need this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. I need a private driveway. Those are the things you cannot compromise. Okay. And deciding on the location, what is going to be the factors that go into when they're deciding on the location? We all should know this as a real estate agent. It's going to be the work, right? Hey, how far is it, my location, my home, from my work? How about my kids' schools, right? How about all the amenities that I want, the parks, right? How far are they from my property? All those things. How's the neighborhood? All those things will factor in when they're deciding on a location. Okay, we cannot steer any client to one way or another. Let them decide. Okay, and they have to understand the market. Hey, this market or this area has this many properties, and this is the price range. versus if I go half a mile this way, the prices increases or decreases depending on that market. Okay? And how many times people are not getting pre-approved and you're just showing them houses? Tell them to go get a pre-approval so this way we know or we have a good idea, if you can actually buy this property or not. I had an agent come in this morning that closed the deal, and he said, he went through a couple of different. This client is really difficult, and he have shown many properties. They liked it, and then they backed off. But guess what? He did not give up on that person, and they're going under contract now. So there will be a client that will be asking you a million questions, and you're showing them so many properties and everything like that, and the deals just falls through one after another. It depends on you how encouraged you are and how well you're going to be, how long you're going to be with that client. Okay? If you don't give up and they see that you're not giving up and you keep just showing them another property, guess what? They're going to stick with you as well. Okay? So ask them to get a pre-approval, and obviously they're working with you as a real estate agent, and your job is to find them a property. How are you going to find them property if you have no idea what's going on in the market, right? Know your market, know the inventory, and then you can definitely help out your client. Okay. Next, guys, there's a couple of things in the news. Maybe you heard about the trash cans. This is gonna, because this news related to real estate, so it includes for any property that's 1 to 9 units. So instead of just throwing their trash bags outside or putting it in front of the house, that's not gonna be legal anymore starting in November. So I just want you guys to be on the know as well, that any property that's gonna be in New York City, when they're throwing out their trash, they gotta put it in a New York City bin, right? You don't have to buy their bin; they can have their own bin, but it just can't be just trash bags outside. I think it's gonna help the market. It's gonna help keep the city clean, right? We have a rat problem in New York, and this might help them reduce that. Okay, so just for your knowledge, this rule is applying for all the units from 1 to 9 units properties. And if they want to purchase this bin, it can be gone to bins, www.bins.nyc. Okay, so when we do share these slides, you can share with your clients. This is just an icebreaker if you're talking to a client regarding this. Okay, and the bins was around $55. Maybe you can find it cheaper, but just let if you're having a conversation with the homeowner, hey, starting November, you just can't put out the trash like this. You as a real estate agent, you're in the know there. Okay. All right, guys. Next, we have your FHA program. We're going to be talking about FHA program. It's been 90 years since the FHA loan program was launched, right? So we want to go through the guidelines for that. Okay. There are some people who thinks it's a terrible idea to go with FHA, and some people think this is the greatest idea to go with FHA. So let's just see when it got started. It got started in 1934 as a National Housing Act. It was a way to help restructure the financial system during the Great Depression, right? So they wanted to set or improve housing standards, allowing people with low credit scores, with low income, to get a mortgage and be the helping hand for them. Okay. So what are some critics they say? Like the critics say, hey, you don't want to go with FHA because it has a upfront MIP, which is your mortgage insurance, right? With typically, if it's a conventional loan, you don't have to worry about that. Okay. Versus, you can think on a positive note that, hey, FHA has provided home path to home ownership for millions of people. These were the people, if your credit scores is below 620, you don't qualify for any other options besides FHA. So then you might have to go with FHA, right? Otherwise, if you didn't have that FHA option and you couldn't increase your credit scores, then you might not be able to purchase a house for maybe 3 months, 6 months, or a year, right? Just trying to improve your credit scores. If you really like the property and you qualify for FHA, why not go with that option? Okay. So here are the basic guidelines for FHA. You need credit scores of 580. If you have more than that, or if you have more than 620, then you qualify for both conventional and FHA. With FHA, you can put down payment as low as 3.5%. FHA is the only loan option that allows you to stretch your budget even more, up to 54%. So most conventionals are 49% or lower. With FHA, you can go all the way up to 54% with your DTI. Okay, the closing cost is between 4 to 6%. As we mentioned, that there's an upfront cost for FHA, which is 1.75%. Okay, the downfall, the negative things, another one is your mortgage insurance. If you're paying 3.5%, it's gonna stay there for life of the loan. If you're putting down more than 10%, then it goes away after 11 years. Okay, and if it's a FHA and the government is insuring this loan, they want to make sure you're going to live in that property for at least 1 year. Okay, so if your client qualifies for this, we will definitely tell them, hey, FHA is a good option for them, especially if they don't qualify for conventional. Okay, and one of the questions like, hey, if I have to live there, could I buy a 2-family? Absolutely, you can go up to 4 units. You just have to live in 1 unit, and the other units can be rented out. Okay, but sometimes you need to renovate the place too, right? You get a property that's beat up and then needs work and everything. So maybe one of your clients, Carvin, says, hey, Carvin, do you have any other option? I feel like the kitchen is really beat up, or the bathroom really needs renovation, or the basement needs to be renovated. Is there any other option? Maybe you can tell them you need to check out FHA 203K loan, right? And the guidelines just got updated yesterday. So I want you guys to be in the know before anyone else. I will be making a short video on this tomorrow. So I want everybody to know this, that there is a FHA loan where they can get the normal loan as they would, plus money to renovate the place. Okay. So you can see that, hey, finally, HUD finally updates, expands 203K program. FHA, another headlines was that FHA makes long-awaited changes to a 203K program. I believe they haven't made any changes since the 90s. Okay, so it's a pretty big deal. And what are those changes? But before that, what does it actually allow? It allows the borrower to avoid taking out multiple loans. So you don't want to take out first loan to purchase the house, and then you want to take out another loan to renovate that. You can do this together with FHA 203K loan. So you purchase plus the renovation, just one loan, right? That's the benefit. And what change did they come up with? They increased the loan limit. So the limited FHA 203K loan limit was $35,000, and then they increased it to $75,000. That's a pretty big deal, because we know that we are not able to renovate much with $35,000 budget, right? Especially if you want to do 2 or 3 things in the house. So if it's gone up to $75,000, your client should be able to renovate it in the way they want it with one loan. Okay. Couple of other changes with that they made was that they allowed a little bit. There's one more slide there, that they allowed more time frame. Before they say, hey, it has to be done in about 6 to 9 months. Now they're doing it up to 1 year for those renovations. So what is the process for that? So simply putting in the application that the borrower applies for a 203K loan through a FHA loan lender. We can definitely do it with our companies as a broker, but your clients can go to other brokerages or a lender and find out their guidelines. But just be assured that since it's a FHA, there's going to be a little bit more restrictions than a conventional loan, right? There is an appraisal done that's going to assess the current value of the property, and they're going to estimate the value for after repairs, right? That's what the loan is going to look at. Hey, what will be the value after you repair the kitchen, the bathroom, the flooring, the ceiling, whatever you have to update. Okay, it will ask for the contractor estimated as well, right? So they want to see licensed contractor that's going to actually do the work to provide you with a couple of different estimates. Okay, and after that, that's the only additional part where the contractor is coming in giving the estimate. Everything else is the same process as you would do a normal FHA loan. Okay, So just know that whenever you show a property that is really beat up and the client says, hey, I don't have a lot of funds, you can tell them, hey, I'm not a loan officer, I'm a real estate agent. So maybe you want to speak to a loan officer regarding FHA 203K loan. Okay. Any questions, concerns on those guys? Yes. If it's a FHA loan, yes, you have to live there for 1 year. Good question. Yep. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Next, who heard here like about this phrase here? Marry the house, date the rate. Anyone? So it's basically a phrase in real estate where we're telling the client, hey, you should marry the house, meaning you're going to be living there for a long time. So that's the house that you want. You want to date the rate because that's going to be temporary. It might be there for 6 months, a year, 2 years. The house, you want to live there for maybe 10, 15 years or longer. The rate, maybe it might be for 6 months, a year, 2 years, because when you can definitely refinance later on. But there are some pros and cons to this, so I just want you guys to have a full picture if you ever mention that to your client. Okay. So when we're saying, hey, marry the house, what are the pros for this? So one of them is the opportunity for appreciation. So I showed you the graphics for your Nassau and Queens, and you have seen year over year that the property value goes up, right? So the potential of the opportunity for appreciation is tremendous, especially if you're in New York. I don't know about other states, but in New York, the stats are there, right, to show you going many, many years. So you have a chance of building equity, right? You have the potential for refinancing when the interest rates do drop. As we mentioned, that they should drop after September or start to drop after September, but we don't know when it will make sense for the people who are closing today, right, at 7%, when they should refinance. Should they do it at 6.5? Should they do it at 6%? Only a loan officer, when they do the math for them, can tell them, hey, the savings are enough, the way you should make that switch right now. Okay. And the long focus on long-term satisfaction. You're buying a house where you want to live there for a long time. It's something that you can call your own. When you're renting, it's quite the opposite, okay? But every time you mention this phrase, I just want you to know some cons as well. That the interest rates are on the high end right now. Refinance, when we can easily say, hey, refinance in 2 years. Maybe they don't qualify to refinance, right, on their own, or the interest rates do not drop to the level that they can actually save some money on that, right? There's a market risk and there's a refinance cost. So the benefit is that it is beneficial for those who find a home they love and they're willing to take a risk on the higher initial interest rate with the potential to refinance later. Okay. So I do want maybe you guys heard it, don't want to say it now, it's perfectly fine, but just know the phrase and know what it means. Okay. Next, guys, a penny saved is penny earned, right? We all heard that phrase. About 54% of the buyers, the source of down payment came from their savings. So rest of it, they're asking gifts from their family, from their friends, right? So you need to guide your clients. Sometimes they don't have enough savings. Hey, there are loan programs like FHA or some conventional where they will allow gift funds, right? So you need to borrow some, or not borrow, but get gifts from your family or friends. You can use that towards your down payment as well, right? Some people are just waiting to save more, and they just feel like they never have enough. You just want to guide them regarding gifts. Okay. Next, guys, there's 4 forms here. I hope you guys know at least 2 of them. But after this, I hope you guys know all 4 of them. Right? There's 1003 form, 1004 form, there's 1025 form, and 1099 form. So we'll start from the bottom. I feel like we all know this, the 1099 form, right? That this is what the form that looks like to verify which company that you're working with and how much you're making as an independent contractor. Okay, rest of it we all gonna learn today. So your first is your 1003 form. This is a document that is a document required for all mortgage applications. That includes your customers' information, their personal information, their income, their assets, and the description of the house that they're gonna buy. Right. So it's basically a form that is universally used by all the loan officers. It's required. Anytime you're doing a residential mortgage, you have to get this filled. So the form name is 1003 form. Okay. 1004 is going to be a document required for the appraisal. So anytime you're looking for appraisal, that form is called 1004. Okay. And this is usually for a single unit, or unit does not have to do with any rental. If it's going to be a rental property, we were trying to find out how much income that property is going to be bringing in. Then you have your 1025 form. That is an appraisal form that is needed if the subject property is 2 to 4 units and the borrower is using rental income to qualify, right? So if you're going to say, hey, I'm going to be using the second floor's rent to qualify, so I need to use that 75% of the income. So if the rent is $2,000 from the second floor, you can legally use $1,500 as your qualified income. But who's going to check that? That's going to be through our appraisal, and the form is called 1025. And the last one, 1099 form, this is going to be the form that, as we mentioned, to verify your income, that you are self-employed, you are an independent contractor. Okay. So guys, next we're coming back to negotiation, right? This is when we're telling our clients that, hey, the property is listed for X amount. It could be $1 million. But as a real estate agent, I want to see if I can save you some money. So this is one of the articles. I feel like it touches on the negotiation skills, and kitchen is something where you want to focus on, right? Because kitchen is one of the most important room in our whole house, because it brings either it has the highest value or the lowest value depending on how much work it needs to be done there, right? So this is one of the top agents in the nation here, Jordan, and she mentioned a few things here, so I just wanted to go over that. So it says the kitchen is the highest value room in the house. If the work is needed, is going to be the most expensive to update, and the time, money, and effort needed to pull off a renovation, that's going to bring the value up, right? And the sellers know that, but you as a buyer's agent have to point that out, right? You're the one who should be making a list, as she does here, and saying, hey, this is what it needs to be, this what needs to get updated, this is what it really needs the attention here, especially if you see something that's not functional. Everything in the property that's there should be functional. And if it seems something that's outdated, the cabinets, all the appliances, then you need to have that factor in when you're putting in the offer. In some cases, she said she have negotiated 10 to 20%, and I think that's really fair. When you see major renovations, you want to include that in your offer, right? You don't want your clients to be relying on, hey, after I purchase the house, I need to come up with more money to renovate. The way the market is not a lot of not everybody's motivated buyer right now. Whoever you have in your pocket, you want to make sure that you can save them some money by negotiating. Okay. And kitchen is not alone, right? You can check the bathrooms, the bedrooms, the basement, the garage, the sidewalk. It could be the whole property, just depending on wherever you see negative things, point those out as a real estate agent. Hey, this needs to be worked, and I just want to make sure it's a fair price. We all know about the strategies, right? We do see there's some properties listed on the lower end and compared to a high end, so they can have more eyeballs. It's perfectly fine. If that's the case, then you cannot drop 10 to 20%. But if you see it on the high end and the property needs a lot of work, you have to be the judge. I feel like with more and more closing that is under your belt, you should be more confident when you're putting in your offers, right? If you're brand new, you still have a lot of tools like we have in Geodata, RPR. You can check other websites just to see the value for the property. Okay, So we have, mortgage company here where you can just send us the address. We can see if the appraisal will be needed or what the value will be, at least the price range. So you have at least a second or third opinion on that before you put in an offer, right? We have no problem doing this as long as you're willing to send us the address and we can do the research for you. Okay. Next, guys, there's something, a new tab on your Algier agent tools page. This page was updated with a new pin about a month ago. If for any reason you are not sure about the pin, just ask me. I have no problem giving that to you. But your first tab is called closing checklist. Okay, it's a very important tab. We want to stay in compliance with every closing. So, it's very easy to exchange checks, but it's very hard to track all these disclosures. That's why we made a closing checklist for all of you guys. Okay, once you click on it, it's a very simple form. You fill out your property address, your client's name, and what was your representation on this one? How did you represent them? Were they your buyers, sellers, or was it dual agency? Okay. Bottom of it, this is what we need copies of. We need the agency disclosures, majority of you guys giving that. The anti-discrimination disclosure. Although on the bottom of that disclosure, it states that every real estate agent must present this to their client, and the client must sign this confirming that there was no discrimination done against them. No client should have any issue signing this as long as you have follow all the instructions, and they should be able to sign this for you, right? There are some agents who are simply not asking or not aware, but we want to make sure that agency disclosures, anti-discrimination disclosures are filled out at the same time. Okay. At the closing or after the closing, we do need it for our records. Okay. Fully executed contract. I had an agent ask me, hey, I don't get the copy of the contract. They say, hey, I don't need a copy. I asked them, why not? You represented the buyer. You're the reason we have a contract today, and you don't have the right to get a copy of that, right? You should be demanding this, and I'm going to show you why you would need that. In the contract, you should be reading that in the contract there is a clause or a paragraph for the broker. In the broker side, you should have our company names in there. Okay, this one, in this example, you can see Prestige Homes, NYC, and LJ Realty Team. This is how we're going to make sure at the closing table that we can get paid. Your name individually will not be on the contract, but the company name will be, or it should be. So if someone asks you, hey, why do I need the contract? You should tell them, hey, I need to verify. One, I need a copy of it for our company's record. Second, I want to make sure that our company name is included in the contract for under the broker. That's how important it is. Okay. So do not be scared of asking attorney, hey, you have a fully executed contract? I want to see it. I want to make sure that I have it for my records and our company name is in the contract. Okay. The CD, this is your closing disclosure. This verifies that, hey, the closing is happening. This is the client. This is all the fees that they have to go through and everything. You need a copy of that. Why is that? All on the bottom of the CD, it does disclose, hey, LJ Realty Team, our brokerage, how much you are getting paid, and we need a copy of that. Okay. So experienced agents don't have any issue with this. New agents or who are agents who want to come up, I want you guys to be expert in this. Hey, demand the documents that you're required to have for file. Say, hey, these are my brokerage rules, and we really need them on our file. Okay. Starting in August, I think that you guys all heard it, that August 17th is the magic date now, where you will see after that, MLS will no longer have the commission there, and it will require a written agreement. So if you have any deals right now, if you don't have any agreement signed, I'm okay with it for now. But after August, every one of you guys, whenever you bring in your check, we need to see that written agreement that was signed by your agent, by your client, that you have the right to represent them. Okay. On the bottom of it, you have your commission. Hey, this is the total commission we got, and after your cut, this is going to be the commission that you get paid. Okay. Very simple, straightforward. We want to make sure that every agent stay in compliance. One thing is, like, we do a closing today, the government or city, state, anybody or MLS can ask us for any of this paperwork anytime in the future. They have 5 years to do so. So we want to make sure that we have all the documents right now rather than later. Okay. I do understand that we have documents in transaction desk. It is your job to download them and put it in Teams and send it to us. Hey, this is my agency disclosure. This is my anti-discrimination disclosure. Here's a fully executed contract. Here's a CD. Okay, here's my written agreements. Everything should be in Microsoft Teams. Okay. All right, guys. Next, I want to talk about how many leads do you currently have, right, that you're actively showing properties to. And the number should not be in hundreds. It should not be, two either. It should be somewhere you have at least 10 to 20 different clients, 10 to 20 different leads. That was the model that I was using when we were starting out. When I started out as an agent, I need to make sure that I have 10 to 20 clients or leads in my database. If it's not there, it should bother me that, hey, I need to increase my database, right? If you have hundreds and hundreds, then maybe you don't need any new leads. Then you should be just focusing on following up with these clients regular basis. Are all the alerts set up for all my clients? Hey, am I showing them properties this weekend or not? Right? How serious is this client? I gave you an example earlier. It really depends on how fast or how quickly you give up on that client. But you have all the tools to be a professional. But you gotta actually follow up. You're the one who have to follow up with your clients. If you need more leads from your sphere, from the office, or paid leads through Zillow or Realtor.com, they all work. It really depends depending on you. How focused are you on the real estate side, right? So if you need office leads, please ask me. For your sphere, you have your business card. Try to give that out much as possible. Carry that your business cards with you all the time. You never know who you're gonna meet, right? If you have the budget to spend on Zillow or Realtor.com, do it. This is the time to do it, right? If you have a plan B, meaning this is your plan B, is to be a real estate agent, right? And your plan A is to have a career elsewhere, that means you're not going to succeed in real estate. I truly think it's a myth that you can really succeed in real estate just doing a part-time or having as a plan B. You should have this as plan A. Hey, I have a license. I want to make sure that I want to be successful in this, and I want this to be my primary source of income. How could I make that happen? Right? By focusing on it, by making sure that, hey, I have this many clients. It could be 2 clients, 5 clients, 10 clients, whatever it is in your database. Follow up on them regular basis and make that your career. Okay. If you have a plan B, guys, it never works. That means you're now focused on plan A. Okay. Next, guys, for next 5 minutes, I'm gonna just show you guys what we have in our KV core here. Right, Bold Trail right now is called. The first 3 tabs. I expect every one of you guys to go to your KV core every single day and spend at least 5 to 10 minutes just on the first 3 tabs. Hey, I want to see in my dashboard what is going on with my clients. Is there any activity going on? Sometimes I can even narrow it down by activity. Do I want to see only the new text messages? I can see that. Okay. Or do I want to see property views? Who actually viewed the property? Right? Maybe I want to call up Amandeep. Hey, this property that you saw is listed for $1.2 million or $1.3 million. Could I schedule a showing for you? Right? Your question should be very simple. hey, the system showed that you view this property. Should I schedule it for you? Especially when you see Samantha here saw this property twice, right? Even though this is for rental, if you have rental clients, you would add it the same way. Same exact thing. This is how you're going to follow up with them. I see that you saw the property this twice. Some clients say, hey, for my privacy reasons, how would you know this? But you can tell them, hey, this is our system. It's showing us that, hey, you saw this property. Could I schedule this for you? Okay. Next is your clients here. I want to make sure that, hey, for my clients, are their alerts set up, right? Even if it's for rental, you do the same exact thing. If the alerts are set up and I want to send this property, should click on it and send via text, right? Who do you want to send it to? Put in the message, include this link, and send. This should be done every single day with all your database. Hey, I have 2 clients, I have 20 clients. I want to make sure that they're getting a text message. Some of you guys say, hey, the system is already sending them an email. Do I really need to text? I think so. So this way you can have a personal touch. The system already emailed you this, but out of those new 3 properties that came on the market, I feel like this one is really good for you, right? Some of you guys say, hey, the client is not responding. I'm sending them every single day, but they are still looking at it. They're still judging you that, hey, you are in a positive way, that, hey, you are sending them properties on a regular basis, right? So following up with your clients is something that you would have to do, and we can provide you with the tools. The tools mean nothing if we don't use them, right? So all your clients should be in KV Core. Every client should have a alert set up. And next is your listing. If I'm in real estate, I have few filters already set up. I showed you last time. But if you don't have any filters set up, if you just go to listings and you can filter out any area that you want. This is not for your clients' knowledge, right? This is for your knowledge. You want to spend maybe 10-15 minutes just on different areas. If you are in Jamaica, Queens, you just want to check out all Jamaica, Queens area, right? And if you're in Long Island, maybe Elmont or Valley Stream or Franklin Square, you want to focus on those, right? And it's very, very simple, right? So for commercial, this is what we're looking for. A building in commercial in Nassau. I'm looking on this link maybe twice or 3 times a day. So you guys should be doing the same thing. Hey, I want to look at 2 family properties in Queens or Nassau. Here they are, right? So if you're sending these properties, or this property just came on the market, to your client and you're beating the competition, it speaks for itself that, hey, you are a professional and you're staying on top of the game with the tools that you have. Okay. So the most important is your dashboard, contacts, and your listings. There are other tabs. If you're really savvy and you're really getting into the game here, it's not a problem. You can go through it. But if you're brand new, the first 3 tabs are the most important ones. Okay. All right, guys. To your next open house, please invite one of our loan officers, right? So as long as you're hosting an open house, just let us know in WhatsApp group. Hey, I have an open house this weekend. Would any loan officer would like to join? We will put it in our WhatsApp group for the loan officers, and one of them will connect with you. Okay, so we want to make sure that you have a company when you're hosting an open house. Even if for an hour or two, we can bring value to the client, because when that client is coming in, and if they have a mortgage question to see if they qualify for that property, you would have a loan officer along yourself. Okay. All right, guys, that will do it from my end. Any questions, concerns, anything on your mind? All right, there was few changes that we spoke about. FHA loan, just to summarize, the limits have increased. So if your client is looking for a property that is beat up, that needs work, guide them to us or to another lender where they can get an option for 203K loan, right? We went through a couple of other headlines, the interest rates. Any topics that you guys want to go over in the next meeting, feel free to shoot a message to me and I will put that on the list. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining, guys. I will see you next week. You guys take care.